Alright guys, so we are starting off with absolutely nothing on because we are going to be using a couple of new things. But the star of the show, at least I hope the star of the show, is going to be these new brushes. These are the Emax design, the oval face brushes that I picked up recently from Amazon. And I'd asked you guys on Snapchat if you wanted to see a full face tutorial using just these, a review slash first impressions, and I got review slash first impressions. So I have them all out of the box, so I'm just going to kind of go through the brushes and kind of give you an idea of the feel, the bristles, the handles, all that jazz. Now, before I get into that, the reason why I got these was because I wanted to try the infamous Artiste brushes, but when I saw the price point, I was like, I don't think so. I don't know if I'm quite ready to make that commitment to those brushes because they are kind of expensive. They might be the most amazing brushes on the face of the earth, but I wanted to try that style of brush but keep it affordable. So obviously with that in mind, I went straight to Amazon because Amazon has everything and a lot of the stuff there is pretty cheap. So this set, you get 8 brushes and it comes with like a little card here that shows you all of the brushes that you get. And although there's 8, there are several that have the same style and look. They're just going to be a little bit smaller. So one of the first ones you get is like a round one like this here. And they are slightly damp because I took some hand sanitizer and kind of rubbed it against the bristles because I was playing with them when I was trying to photograph some of these before starting the video. So this is what it looks like up close. This is the handle of it. It looks very much like a toothbrush, and that is one style there, kind of blunt cut across. And you do get 2 that have a very similar look. Now, the only difference between the 2 in this set is that one has a blunt cut across and one is more rounded. As you can see, this one here is more of a blunt cut, and then this one back here is more rounded. So there you can see maybe the difference between them. So we'll see if that has anything to do with the way it applies product. You get a couple that are a little bit on the longer side, and here is a look at this one up close. Just like a toothbrush. And then you get 2 that are similar to that one that I just showed you, but they are on the smaller side, so more of a detail type of brush possibly here. I can see this little tiny one here working for maybe possibly smudging some eyeliner, so we'll see. And then for the larger brushes, you get 3 sort of large brushes. This one, it says this is the number 6, but I think it's just brush number 6 in the set. I don't think they have any specific names. They said that number 6 can be used as an eyeshadow brush, conceal, or a lip brush. I do think that this is rather large for lip, but you know, this could be concealer, this could be applying contour, it could be highlighting, any type of brush application that you want, really. I mean, you can go for it and use whatever you want. And then you get 2 of the bigger brushes. So this one is probably more of that traditional sort of brush that you have seen floating around in videos on YouTube. They have that really big kind of brush head. Looks very weird. I don't know, I just think of not only a toothbrush, but you know those brushes that you use to polish shoes. I don't know, I just think that that looks just like that, and that's what this one looks like. And it's got a lot of bristles, and they do feel very soft, and I believe these are all synthetic. I will have to double check and put it on the screen, but that's the biggest one. And then here is the smaller version of the big one that I just showed you. So this one could be foundation, it could be powder, it could be blush, anything you want. And again, that same look to the bristles, just a smaller version of this. So overall, I do think that they feel really soft. The handles are very plastic. These ones feel a little bit more firm, like the smaller ones that have the smaller brush heads. But when you get to this one that has the larger brush heads, you see that flexibility. I'm not sure if that's an intentional thing or if it's because the weight of the bristles sort of causes that, because on these ones there isn't a whole ton of give on the actual plastic material as it is with these larger ones. So as you can see, this one has a little bit of give, but I think the one that has the most would be the biggest one. Maybe, like I said, it has to do, I suspect, with the weight of the bristles. So in using this, I probably would recommend, if you get something like this that feels that way, especially when it comes to the cheaper versions, to just put your index finger behind it as you're kind of rubbing it in, just to give it a little bit more support on the back side. Because using it like this, maybe over time it could snap the plastic. Just depends on, again, the quality of the set that you're purchasing. But we shall see. Hopefully towards the end of the video I will have an opinion form. But so far I think it's kind of cool. I'm very interested to see how my makeup is going to look, and they feel really soft. So with that, I'm going to sort of just start grabbing some things, some new things, some things that I've used before, and sort of just start doing my makeup because I have nothing on my skin. Alright, so we're going to start with foundation. I'm going to use the Maybelline, the Matte and Poreless foundation. I wear the shade 128 Warm Nude Beige, and I do like this foundation. I think it's really nice. I wish I had a pump though, because this is kind of messy. I did, apply my primer, the Benefit Porefessional Matte Rescue. I'm still testing this out. So far it's just okay. I used my fingers to apply that, and I applied some eyeshadow primer with my fingers as well. And what I'm going to do is just kind of dot this foundation all over, as I would had I used another brush or my beauty sponge, beauty blender. I always just dot everything around just to keep more precise control, I guess, of how much I'm using. I know, pretty, aren't I? I'm going in with the large one because I think that will cover more area on my face and maybe blend it in quicker. So I'm just gonna, like I said before, put my finger behind it and just help support that. And this does feel really weird. It feels like I'm brushing my face with something that I shouldn't be. Okay, this is kind of different. Have any of you used any of these types of brushes? Because I am interested to know. Am I even doing this right? I don't even know. So I've seen a few people use the Artiste brushes and they just sort of blend it like this. But I could be completely wrong. Like, I have no idea what in the hell I'm doing. Just bear with me. We'll have a laugh on me today. Okay, so that was pretty easy to blend in. Now, let's look up close. Okay. Alright. I see you, Emax. Okay. I'm just going to kind of take this down my neck as well. Okay. So, right off the bat, I do think that this blended in my foundation quite nicely. Do I think it's any different so far than using like a beauty blender? No. Using another brush? Not really. I mean, it was pretty quick, and I think it's just because the larger size covers more area. Concealer, I'm going to use my Naked Skin Concealer by Urban Decay. This is in the shade Light Neutral. And I'm going to go down my nose just a little bit, around my nose, because that's where I sort of get like red there. And I'm going to put some on the back of my hand and then try to cover up so I don't contaminate my tube. And let's see, which one of these? I think I might use this size. This might actually be the best size. Right. Let's do it. I'm just going to start around my nose. Alright, so using this type of brush does feel a little bit on the weird side, honestly. And it blended in the concealer okay. I just feel like I get a better, sort of smoother look with my beauty blender because this, I don't know, it just feels weird. And I feel like it left a little bit of like streakiness like you get when you use a foundation brush for foundation. It doesn't really blend it in as well So I don't really particularly care for this style of brush for under eye concealer. Under the eye, I still prefer my Beauty Blender. So what I'm doing is just applying a little bit more concealer with my Beauty Blender just because I prefer the look of this. I think it gives me a much smoother under eye area. That's just my personal preference. Alright, so now I'm going to set my foundation using this one here, this brush, which is the smaller version of the big one. And I'm going to use some of my Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. Alright, so now for some bronzer, I'm going to use the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. And that's what the color looks like. Really nice and natural. And it has a bit of a creamy feel to it, so I'm going to use, I don't know, maybe, Geek. I don't know. Let's go in with the smaller one. So I'm just going to take a little bit, or a lot of it. Whoa, okay. Maybe that was a little too much. I'm patting off some of the excess. I'm taking a little bit onto my cheeks. I'm treading softly here because even though the bristles are very soft, they are quite dense, and I do feel like it does pick up quite a bit of product. So we're just gonna kind of go slow with it and add as we go. If you like having a stronger contour and you get a set of brushes, one that's like this style here would be good for adding the dark color. So I'm gonna try doing that. I'm a little bit hesitant here, but I'm going to take my Benefit Hoola just because it's a nice sort of neutrally shade. It's not too warm, it's not too cool. I think I grabbed too much. And I'm patting off the excess. So as you can see, it does leave quite a bit of a harsh line there. But the good thing about this style of brush for contouring is that you can follow basically the tops of your ear and right in that sort of groove, and you can feel where your cheekbone is, and you can really place the color there and then blend it out with something else. So it does give you that chiseled look. However, it does apply quite a bit of product, so just be careful. And I think I'm going to blend it out with the larger one. I feel like I got a harsh line here. Let's see if we can we fix it? Maybe? Okay, so I'm putting away the bronzer because I can easily see myself looking like I've been rolling around in some mud if I continue adding. So for highlight, I'm going to go in with the Anastasia Glow Kit. I love this, one of my favorites, and I think I'm going to use Crushed Pearl. I mean, do I ever use anything else different in this kit? No. Crushed Pearl is beautiful. Let's start with the small little one, that's that flat top one, and see what happens. Oh, I got a lot. Okay, so you see when you when you apply this, you get a streak. Okay, not cute. So let's go back in with the smaller one, wiping off the excess on a paper towel, making sure there's no bronzer, and blending this out. Okay. All right. Are we glowing yet? Are we glowing? I like it. Okay, now I think I'm going to do the small one, the flat top one, for highlighting down my nose, because I think this is the perfect width for my nose. And get a little bit there. Okay. Maybe, well, that's a lot. And I'm going to hit up the Cupid's bow. Let's try the little one with some powder. And I'm going to use my Anastasia brow powder. This is in the shade medium brown. So I am having to use a pencil because I have some sparseness that requires a pencil. It's not as easy to fill if you have like little bald spots that I do from like over plucking and over waxing. So I do have to use a pencil to get really close into those areas. And for that I'm using the Anastasia brow definer, the triangular one in the shade medium brown. But overall, the application of applying using a small one like this for brow powder was pretty easy. So if you only use a little bit of brow powder just to kind of make them more put together, then it's really simple. But if you require a pencil, you might have to do what I do. Apply some powder, going with pencil in the spots that you need it. But overall, I think it applied the powder pretty evenly as well. So I picked up, look at these colors, you guys. These are the Moondust Shadows from Urban Decay. This is from their new palette that just came out. Isn't that gorgeous?
Oh my god, yes.
So beautiful and sparkly and pretty. This is the arrangement of colors. Oh my gosh, look at that. Excited about these. Hey. So I think I'm going to go in with some colors from the Too Faced Chocolate Bonbons palette because I have put this on the back burner a little bit, and this is one of my favorites from Too Faced. So let's see, I'm going to go in with, maybe not. I'm going to go in with the small one that's more flat top, and I'm going to go in with a shade called Divinity, which is a matte cream color. And this does feel extremely weird using a brush like this for eyeshadow. Alright, so I zoomed in a little bit so you can see a little bit more detail going on. So all I have is just a little bit of that color all over. And for crease, I really don't know what I'm going to do. So I think, maybe this small one that is rounded like that. Similar to the one I used for the shadow, but this one has a rounded tip to it. So this might be okay for the crease. So let's see, what are we going to do? Let's go in with Cashew Chew because it's one of my favorites. It's just a light color. Which is a darker brown color. Still kind of on the lighter side as opposed to like a really dark brown, but we're, gonna make this work. And I'm just going to kind of go close to my lash line with this, tapping off some of that excess. Alright, so right off the bat, this is not really turning out as I hoped. It's a little bit difficult to blend the eyeshadow with this style of brush. And it's not the shadows because these actually blend out quite beautifully using normal makeup brushes. So unfortunately this just doesn't work. And if I use something like this, I feel like I might get, I feel like if I do this style brush, I might end up with like a cut crease. Let's try it. Let's just give it a go. Oh. Yeah, I feel like I just messed this up. Alright, so in order to save this eye makeup, because I'm not taking it off, I'm going to take the Sigma E25 blending brush. It looks like this with the same mocha shade, and I'm just going to kind of work this into my crease and try to salvage what I've done. So what I'm going to do is go in with the same mocha shade that I have just put on the crease. I'm going to take a little bit on the flat, more detailed style brush, and I'm going to try to smudge this onto the lower lash line. Okay, so just applying a little bit. It is rather difficult to get really up close into the root of your lashes with color using this style brush, because if you get too close, you can actually end up poking yourself in the eyes. Alright, so for a little bit of sparkle, I think I'm going to go with this shade called Spectre, which is that soft, pretty pink color. It's like a very light pink, but it has some kind of goldeny reflex going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply this with my finger. I think that might get a little bit more impact that way. Do is experiment using this small brush with a rounded tip. I picked up some of the Moondust Shadow, and then I'm going to spray it with some Moisture Mist by Sanita Skincare, and then I'm going to apply that and see if this gets more intense. Alright, so let's try to smudge a little bit of some dark shadows on the lash line. And I think for that, I'm going to use a smaller one. I'm going to use the shade Cypress Umber from the Anastasia Modern Renaissance, which is just a deep chocolate brown. So beautiful. So using that brush does create a bit of fallout if you're using dark shadows, so I'm just kind of wiping this off with a brush. And it did give me quite a bit of a thick line, so just keep that in mind if you're going to use something like this to apply eyeshadow liner. It's going to be on the thicker side versus using a very thin, precise, angled liner brush. Alright, so now that the eyes are done, I went ahead and applied my mascara, which is my typical go-to, the Maybelline Rocket Volume. And the last thing that we need to do is add some blush, and I'm going to use this blush by Bare Minerals. It's in the shade the Faux Pas, which is a really bright matte pink color. It's like a mid-tone pink. So I'm just going to lightly tap into this, and I'm going to kind of tap off the excess onto a paper towel, because as you can maybe see, the concentration of product is right there where the bristles are a little bit longer towards the center versus more short and tapered on the sides. So I'm going to kind of blend it all in on a paper towel. And then just add a little bit of a glow, like a nice natural pink glow. Alright guys, that wraps up the entire look. Overall, I think that the look came out really nice. I think that these brushes are quite good for like face products, foundations, blending out powder products. I think that they work really great. I didn't particularly care for them. For the one that I used particularly under the eye, I just felt like it was a little too streaky. And I get a much smoother blended in effect with my Beauty Blender when using concealer. As far as the eyes, that's a little tricky as well. I think for me personally, I get a much better overall look with my eyeshadow using regular makeup brushes versus this style of brush, which makes it a little difficult. It is quite awkward blending in products using these style of brushes because it just feels awkward holding it. But I do have to say that I like the face brushes, so I will continue to use these on and off and sort of interchange them with my regular makeup brushes. I'm glad that I spent the $15 to try it and see what it's all about. I'd rather spend $15 and figure out if this is going to work versus spending $60 on just one brush and then feeling like it's just not what it looked like on camera on other people's videos. So I like the brushes for the face, not so much for the eyes. The brows, I think that it applied brow powder really nicely. So I can see myself using that for brow powder. And just because I use these brushes in the way that I did for the specific steps, you can try different styles and shape of brushes that look like these oval brushes for different things. Just because it says on the pamphlet that it's made for concealer or brow products or liner doesn't mean that you have to use this for those specific things. You can sort of play around with it and figure out what's the best way to use it for your makeup routine. So I hope that you guys like these types of videos. And if you want to see more first impression type videos from me, don't forget to subscribe. Let me know what you want to see in the next video. I appreciate your time with me today, and I hope that you liked it. Don't forget to thumbs up the video and subscribe if you haven't. If you have, I do appreciate your love and support. It means more than you'll ever know. Have a fabulous day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.